Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. We're going to wait for a little bit because we're still waiting for people to come. Couple of minutes more. Well, before we will start everything, let me introduce myself. I'm Jo. I graduated as an economist. I worked in financial audit for a bit, and then I worked as an educator for the last 8 years. Currently, I'm in Poland. I'm from Romania, and for I think 1 year and a half, I started this beautiful journey of UX and UI design. I was inspired by a dear friend of mine who's a senior graphic designer. This is how my journey started. I'm pretty passionate about Figma and discovering new things. And the way I've learned, and I keep learning because one of my skills is not to stop learning, is to try and fail and look for answers and watch videos, and that's why I'm here now, because I want to share this with you. We are thinking that this is the first of hopefully many workshops about Figma and how Figma can improve your design and how can excel in your as a tool in your design process. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Figma. Figma is a cloud-based tool. What does it mean cloud-based? It means that it sits in the cloud. Everything is recorded there. Everything is saved there. You don't have to have it in your own computer, but it has an awesome tool that you can download also the project in .fit format, and you can have it in your own laptop. All right. Now, let's see what are the benefits of using Figma in our design. I hope everyone sees the shared screen. Well, one of the benefits, I think the biggest benefit can be is collaboration, because being up there in the cloud, everyone has access to the project. As soon as you share it, you can share it with your stakeholders, with your clients, with the team. Everyone can make comments. It's very interactive. Everything changes in the real time. I think this is one of the best benefits that Figma can have. Also is efficient. We're talking about here about the design system. Later on in our webinars, we're going to see what's exactly about. We're going to talk about shared libraries where everyone can use the same thing and you create consistency in your design. We're talking about accessibility in Figma. It means that everyone from everywhere can access the process, the project, and can give feedbacks and can make comments, and also prototyping, because after all, I think that in the end this is the purpose of Figma as a design tool. Right now, we are going to look deeper in how Figma looks like for us. Now, Figma looks basically like a browser, right? We have a plus button up here. It means that we can create projects over and over and over. And a bar with a lot of tools. When I was telling you that Figma is sitting up in the cloud, it also gives us the opportunity to save the projects on our laptop, and this is happening save local copy. This is how we can save projects in a .fig format, and then we can import them in Figma right away. Okay, so we're having the move button. I think this is the button that we're going to use the most often. Be aware that we have shortcuts. The shortcuts, you're going to use them, I believe, later on when you're going to start using Figma more and more and more. A tip for the bootcamp people, I put there in the channel very nice, I think it's a PNG with all the shortcuts in Figma. Also, you can find them here in the right bottom corner. It says keyboard shortcuts. You have them, all of them, based on whatever action you want to take. You don't have to know them now, but seeing them all the time is going to be very easy for you to remember. Also, you have the scale. We're going to talk later on about scale. We are having the frame, also called the artboard. This is the main piece of our design. Everything sits on the frame. Beside the frame, we have a section and slice. Later on, we're finding in our canvas, we're going to find the shapes. We're talking about rectangle, line, arrows, pen. The pen is also useful because we're creating shapes that usually are not, we don't find them, so they're not regular shapes, right? We can work with nodes. Back to delete this, and also beside the pen, we can use the pencil when we can scribble a little bit. I see someone did it here, right? Those are going to come later on, and we're going to talk later on about them. It depends from what are you going to design. Text has a lot of features. Text. We're going to check it out later when we're going to create a small Figma card. The purpose of this webinar now is for you to see what exactly happens in Figma, how can we create things in Figma, and to leave from here with the experience of creating a Figma card, for example, or just a very small component and an interaction. Let's continue. In the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes in which you're going to have some time for questions. So please, if you have some questions now, write them down on the paper, put them up there in your mind, and then we're going to talk about it in the last 10 minutes, all right? Continuing from here, we're going to have components, plugins, and widgets. Later on, I'm going to talk to you about them. We're even going to create some components. We're going to put them in a small interaction. The hand is going to help you move on Canvas, navigate. When you're going to have big projects, it's going to be very helpful. And the comment button, the comment where you can drop off comments. Your team workers are going to drop off comments in your project, and so on so far. To the right side here, we're having just a second. We are having the share the project. We have different grades, different stages of sharing the project. You can share with a link. You can share for someone to view, and then the person that views can drop a comment. You can share for someone to edit your project, view and edit. Also here we have the button for present, that means prototyping, and also preview your project. And the last one, you can zoom in the project, zoom out, and other small features. Also, in the top center here, you can rename your project. For example, now you can say, I don't know, bootcamp, or you can say webinar, whatever you do, right? So I rename my project. Let's create now a project. First thing first, we're starting with a frame. If you press F on your keyboard, my cursor is changing, right? If you press F on your keyboard, or if you go here, you can create a frame. Now, a very cool feature of for Figma is the possibility to choose for what am I going to design. Am I going to design for an iPhone, or maybe I'm going to make an Instagram post? Let's say I'm going to have a frame and I'm going to design for an iPhone 14 Pro. This is my frame. Cool. Frame can, let's look here on the right. We already have another menu open. The frame you can adjust it the way you want. You can flip it. You can make round corners. All those properties, you're going to find them later on when we're going to work a little bit with shapes. On my frame, I'm going to create, let's say, a rectangle, and I'm going to give another color to the rectangle to make it more obvious. All right, now let's check it out. We have on the page one, this is my page, I'm having a frame and a rectangle. As you see them here in a tree, rectangle sits under the frame. That means that the rectangle is on the frame. Now, also here on top, you can have a plus where you can create as many pages as you want. One of my pages is the presentation that I did now with you, right? This is it. And the first page is the page that we are working on. All right. What else do we have? Beside layers, we have the assets. Here, you're going to have the components that you're going to create. You're going to see them here. We're going to create one, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Also, the libraries, when you're going to share the library, we have a team library. We don't have any now, but that happens when you're going to have a common project that you're going to work on. So we're going to have the frame, and we're going to have a rectangle. Let's see what we got here. For the rectangle, as you see, I have selected it. I'm having where I'm going to put the rectangle in the frame. I'm sliding and I'm keeping it clicked and I'm sliding it. Or you can even give values. Let's say I'm going to make it of 50 and my rectangle is changing, right? Also, we can have the sizes of the rectangle. Again, click and sliding left and right, or you can do it manual. You can say, I don't know, 280 and it changes. Also, you have the angle that you want to flip the rectangle in, go back to 0. And also we have the corners. Now these corners are very important because we're using the rectangle. Let's say we create a CTA, a call to action button, right? You created a CTA and then you want to make it a little bit more friendly, not to look like that. You want to have some round corners, or maybe even rounder, maybe rounder than that, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10. That looks cool. Now, how about, I don't want to have all the corners rounded. There's no CTA like that. Let's say that. You have the option here, in which I'm going to say one of the corners, I want to have it, I don't know, 30. And there you go. You have the option to modify one of the corners individually or all of them in the same time. Once I started creating shapes, I already have a different menu at the top. Now, the menu has like this: editing the option, the object. The object can be edited either through that menu here, either if you double click on it, it's the same thing. It means that it lets me modify the nodes and make it the shape I want. Those irregular shapes are really cool when you want to make some maybe blurry effect, or you want to have them moved in a specific way. And I'm done. Next one is creating the component. We're going to create it later on. And the other one is masking. What is happening with masking? I'm going to double it. This one, I'm going to make another one the same. Alt press and drag the object. Now I'm having both of them and I'm going to select them. And then I'm going to use the mask, in which one is masking the other, as you see. Or what I can do with two of them, I can use, for example, union to combine them, and then becomes a whole. They're grouped together. Or maybe I want to subtract one of them, right? Or you have the option to intersect and get only the intersection of the shapes. Those are really cool features. I'm going to go back to this. There you go. Now, I'm going to keep on going with the menu to the right. And what do we have here? To the right, we have, it shows mixed because one of the corners is rounded. We have constraints, and constraints are very important when we are designing, especially for responsive design. Constraints means I'm going to fix this object in a specific place on my frame. Allow me to do one of really fast. It's easier like this. And I'm going to say, I want to put constraints on this one. Now it doesn't have any. So if my frame is changing, that means responsive design, I'm going to adapt it to the tablet. I'm going to adapt it to the laptop. If I'm changing the frame, my object stays there and it looks ugly, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to say, well, I want for this one to go all the time to right button, let's say, every time when I'm changing my frame. So the object is following my constraint because I already put some rules on it, right? This is a very, very useful feature. The base of responsive design. Now, I'm going to take them off. Later on here, we're going to have different types of blending for the layer. When you're going to have a different, I'm going to change the color just to make it easier for you. You're going to have a darken, as you see, it's changing, the color is changing based on what blending do I want. Maybe in my background, let's say, I'm going to have a background green. Oh, that's strong. My blending is going to be different, as you see. All right, and later on, changing the color. There you go. And also we have the option of transparency. 20, you can barely see it, 60, and so far. Also, you can hide it. And also hiding comes here to the left, is the same hiding. And also here to the left, you're going to see this locker. This locker means when you're going to start creating the projects, you're going to have a lot of frames with a lot of layers, with layering within the layer. Maybe you don't want to modify something, you don't want to make it clickable, you just want for it to stay there, you know, not to move. And that's why I'm going to block it, and then I cannot do anything. Now I'm trying to click it and it's not working, right? So this is a very useful feature when you think that this part is done. I'm going to lock it. I'm not gonna touch it. And even if you touch it, nothing is wrong. Nothing happens, right? All right, so we're gonna keep going. We have now here, if I'm gonna select both of them, as you see, the frame is selected. We have green, we have red. Also, we have these 4 dots. We're gonna talk about in another meeting. Those are setting up the styles. Setting up the styles helps us for creating the design system. Is the same style that the whole team is using, and in the end it helps us being more fast in designing, more efficient, and creates consistency. No one is going to change the shades of I don't know, the green or pink, right? Also, we have the option, if you double click it, you can change the name, right? And also it changed right away here. Control or Command R is the same thing, is doing the same thing, is changing the names, or you just right click and change the name. Later on here, we have effects, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to select the rectangle, and I'm going to go, let's see, stroke and effects. What does it mean, stroke? Stroke means I'm going to put a black line all around it. Now, here's another cool feature from Figma. I can change this thickness. I can make it inside, I can make it center, I can make it outside. That's cool. But I also can change the color. Let's make it blue to hurt our eyes. Oh boy. All right. Now I can have this one done only at the bottom, let's say. And look, I have corners. I don't have rounded corners. Let's make them rounded. Let's give them a 20 to look cool. And there you go. This is a pretty funky, let's say, button, if I want to say that. Button. And I can change the text a little bit. I can make it, I don't know, semi-bold and make it of 20. Maybe even more. There you go. I can change the color. I can take the picker from here, and I want to do exactly the same blue. This is a pretty interesting button. Now, talking about alignment, as you see, when I'm moving the text or when I'm moving the whole button, you're going to see that red line. That red line tells me now you're in the middle. But there are other options in which through which you can align them. Okay, selecting the text and the button. I'm going to group this one, Control or Command G, it depends what you have, and both of them became a group here to the left. I grouped it because I want to align it. All right, so let's rename the group, and I'm going to say button. Cool. The group sits in the frame. It's all checked. Look at that. Looks pretty. Now, this one needs to be aligned. I'm going to select the group and I'm going to go here, up here, and I'm going to say I want to align it to the middle. Look at that. Right away. Now, I have the button. I have the stroke. We can make some effects there. Effects. We have, in Figma, we have 4 types of effects. Inner shadow, as you see already on the top of button there. It's a little bit of a shading. Of course, we can change the shading. Maybe you want to make it, I don't know, towards red or to customize it the way you need it. Also, it goes on the axis X and Y. This is Y if you want it harder or not. Now, also you can, there you go. I erase it from there. You can also drop a shadow at the bottom there. You can have the layer blurred. And as you see, the layer goes blurry and the background blurred. Now, if you have a picture in the background, then you're going to see it. And also, we have the export option. Everything from Figma goes out in PNG, JPEG, SVG, or PDF. You can export them. Also, you have a preview of what you're going to export. So, that is that. I remember that we talked about components. Let's see, before creating the component, let's create a card in Figma. What is in a card? I'm going to create a rectangle. And I want to make it pretty and align it on the center. I want to make some corners of 10, maybe 15. There you go. It looks nice. Now, I'm going to create another rectangle here inside. And as you see, I said I'm going to create a rectangle, right? Now, if I want to create a square, we're talking about something else. When creating a rectangle, you're just taking from here, click, and you make it here. If I want to create a square, I'm going to keep Shift pressed, and then I'm going to take it from there, and it's not going to become a rectangle, it's going to stay as a square. All the sides equal. Of course, you can do it on your own, selecting the width and the height. Now, I'm going to make this one a little bit gray, just to stick out. So I can put this one up here. Cool. Like to have this as a picture, let's say. Now, usually we're using widgets for this. If you right click, I'm going to go here. Once it's selected, you're going to go here in the plugins and widgets, and let's look for Unsplash. Unsplash is the easiest way to import, and I'm going to run it. Is the easiest way to import pictures. I'm waiting. All right. Let's say I'm going to import a look. I'm going to write Figma. And then Unsplash is giving me a lot of options for Figma. There you go. Let's do the first one. I just click it, and it goes right away in my, I would say, image holder, but actually it's a rectangle, right? All right, so look at that. We have a card with a picture. What do I miss? Maybe I want to put a little bit of a text. Let's see. Title of the card, right? Now there are options for us to play with. We can have it a little bit bigger from here. Semi-bold, bold, maybe bold. Let's do it. 178. All right, shall we change the, I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to take the picker, and I'm going to maybe pick a color from here. This one? No, it's not strong enough. I'll go for green. I'm talking about the contrast here. That's why I'm saying no, because of the contrast. All right, so we have the title. Now we would like to maybe, I don't know, to write something about this picture. I'm going to say this is my body text. What? I'm sorry. And as you see, the text is going out from the frame, right? Now, when it's happening like this, you can click and drag it back. And I see, well, it's way too big. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to make it of maybe 20. What do I see? I have a big distance here, and that's not an enter. So I have a lot of options in playing with the text. First one is this one. I'm just clicking it, but also you can give values, you can put them by yourself. And also, well, this one, we don't have it now. So I'm having my text, and I'm having my title. I think that looks pretty, the text is too strong, right? So maybe I want to take a little bit from this, and not to make it bold because my title is bold. We create a little bit of hierarchy in the text. And this is it. So far, so good. Well, I don't know exactly if they're aligned. As you see, when I'm clicking it and I'm dragging it, the line tells me that it's aligned. Sometimes it might not tell you. So then I'm going to select both of them. I'm keeping shift press and click each of them. And I'm going to go up here again to align them like that. It looks pretty okay. So this is a card in Figma. That's how it looks like. Let's change this green. It's my eyes. Make it lighter. All right, so we have the card. What's next? Once we made the card, and I would like to make a slope on this one. There you go. Once we made the card and looks pretty, I also can adjust a little bit the picture. Maybe I don't want the corners like that, and I want them a little bit rounder. Anything that you can think of your playground. Well, now that I have the card, I would like to create a component, because you know what? In my app, I'm going to use this card so many times, and I don't want to create it all the time, from scratch. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the card. Only the card is selected now, as you see here. My card has a text, has a title, has a rectangle, and another rectangle, right? And I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to say create component. As soon as I create the component, you're going to see that the selection color is changed. Do you see it? Now it's purple. So the component looks like this. This is the main component. This is what this little tiny flower tells me here. Of course, that everything can be renamed, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to say main component. All right. So I have my component. Now, every time when I want to do something, I can go to assets, because now I see it. We were talking earlier about the asset, it was nothing there. As soon as I created the component, I have the component shown in assets. And what is very cool is that, you know, when we're talking about the teamwork, everyone can take it from there and just drop it in the project. So I'm going to take it from here, and I'm going to put it here, and I want to create another one, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so it doesn't look really good because it's not aligned, but I'm going to select the three of them, and I have the same option. I'm going to center it, and I'm going to tighten it up a little bit to have the same distance between them. And there you go. They have the same distance. We have three components, but only if you look here to the left, only one of them is the main component. The other ones, those are like copies of the main component. All right. What you see is different, this little tiny flower from the main component to the instances. This is how we call them, instances, like duplicates of the main component. All right, but they have the same properties, right? What is really cool in this is that why are we creating this? So you have the main component that everyone, you know, everyone took it and put it in the project. Now, suddenly someone tells you, you know what, this color from the title is not going to be black anymore. It's going to be red. What you're going to do, if you don't have a component, you're going to start looking for that word title, and you're going to change the color everywhere. This is where the component comes. You're going to the main component. Let's see which one is this one, right? I click it here and I have it highlighted here. And I'm going to change my title from here, and I'm going to change it red because this is how my client wants. That's the beauty of it. It changes everywhere where there is an instance created from that component. So as you see, if I want to change, for example, this title, and I want to move it here, it changes everywhere. That's why we are creating components, because it's very efficient to just make changes. We know that, you know, creating products, this process is very dynamic. So you don't want to waste time changing the color of a font, right? Of a title or something else. So we have a main component, we have two replicas of them. What are we going to do with this? Now we can say, oh, let's create something, maybe a small prototype, right? Let's create an interaction. Let's create something. I'm going to duplicate this one. Alt, click, and drag. Also, Control D, Command D. And I'm going to create a button on the first one because we have to click something, right? Let's see. Let's align it. Super. And I'm going to choose a color. Let's say, I don't know, blue. Light blue, dark blue, round corners. Super. Put the text. And I'm going to say action. I don't know. All right. Now, we can also align, as you see, we can align the text within the button. Also, we can use our tools from up here to put it in the middle. No. Super. We have the button. In order for it to have an interaction, we have to create a group. We have two elements now, distinct elements. We have action, and we have, so we have the text and we have the rectangle. Let's select both of them. I'm keeping Shift pressed, then Shift and Action, the text. I can see them here, the text and the rectangle, both of them selected. Command G or Control G. This is my shortcut for group. Also, you can find it here. Create. Now I have ungroup. I'm going to ungroup. So I'm going to select the rectangle again, and I'm going to select the text, right-click, group selection. And I have it here. I would like to rename it because you're going to have so many groups that you don't know which one is which. And I say action, because this is how it's called, right? So now I have the button, and I want to create an action. Let's see. I'm going to delete those. And I'm going to bring those I select all the three of them, keeping Alt press, dragging, and just dropping here. Why did I do that? Because I want for them to move in a specific way. Now, let's say I want for them to come up when I'm going to click the button action. Those three, I'm going to make them, I don't know, 0%. I don't want to see them. They're gone. And now they're still there, as you see, but you don't see them, which is fine. I'm going to create the action interaction for them. I'm going to prototype, because now you're on the prototype. Let's find the first. Let's see if the frame is on 14. Yeah, because it changed when I 14 Pro. All right. It changed when I was playing with the responsive design. All right, and this one stays as a group. Now, prototype. As soon as I'm going to have the plus here, it means that I can create a link between the first frame to the second frame. So let's link it. I want to do it on, yeah, on top, maybe. And it's changing, you know. Not on top, on drag. That would be interesting. On drag, let's say on drag, I want to have this this frame, the three components, they're going to come up right away. Let's see how it looks like. When creating the prototype, we have different types of effects, if you can say. You can, there you go. It just comes up right away. This one is very simple. It comes instantly, but also you can, I'm going to put it on, no, I don't want to open that. On top. You have Smart Anime, or you have Install, or you have Dissolve. This is up to you to play with them. Let's say, I don't know, 1000, maybe 1000. And let's see how this one looks like now. It comes very beautiful, and like it dissolves, right? All right, so we have created a component. We have played with interactions. Next time we were thinking to work a little bit on the grid. Now, what is important when you're creating a design is respecting the grid. When you look here in my prototyping, I can say that this is not, first of all, it's not aligned, because I have a lot of space from one side to another. And also it's a little bit too high, it's pretty up here, right? So we're gonna look more into this. And also, I don't know if you have, I saw some hands up. So if it's possible to just hear some opinions, or if you have any other questions. Manish, can you open the mics?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi. Welcome.
I'm Francis. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Hi, Francis. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Ma, please, I have a question regarding to your button. I watched the video online and I saw they created theirs using a quite different method. I think they said auto layout or something like that. So I don't know, is this a new method we should adopt?
No, there are so many ways, you know. This is interesting about Figma. You can grab the problem and you can create it the way it works for you. There are many ways in creating responsive design. There are many ways in creating auto layout. We didn't even got into auto layout. So I think there's a lot of us to dig in later on. But as a big picture, I wanted to show to you exactly what is the foundation of Figma. Because later on, you might want to be curious, as I was when I started, and to ask yourself, oh, I want for my app to do this thing. I want for my app, because, after all, you're learning by looking through other apps. You're learning through, what the other apps are doing, and I want for my app to do the same, or maybe even better. So how do I do that? And this is beautiful, because you're starting researching. So there are so many ways to create things in Figma. Did I answer to your question?
All right, Ma, thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions? I'm very interested to find out what exactly would you like to talk about next time, something more specific, because Figma is so big. Of course, I can focus on something, but what are your needs?
Hello.
Hi, hello. Agnes?
Yes, good evening from wherever you are. I would like you to talk next time about design systems.
Design systems. I agree with you. Design systems, we're talking about how you create a design system, right?
Exactly, because
Right.
I know to make a design, sometimes it takes me too long to create a design. So I'm looking for ways to, approach things faster.
Well,
and
if you find the fast way, if you want to find out a fast way to create design systems, I don't think it's fast to change things in it and then to adapt your app, but then creating it takes a little bit of time,
No,
because
not
you know
creating
what, the design.
system. I'm talking about creating designs. When I create designs, like I was part of a 30 days challenge. So when I was doing my designs per day, I noticed that it took me a lot of time per day to finish my designs, my layouts and all of that,
Okay.
because I didn't work with
Okay.
design systems, right?
So why do you think it took you so long? Why do you think it took you so much time?
Because I kept repeating, if I need to use a component, I need to use a variable, I have to keep repeating it. I need to create a text, create another call, just like that. It keeps taking me time to do all of that.
All right. I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you a tip. Practice. For me, that is working. Practice. Ways to create the design faster, components. If you have things that are repeating themselves, right? Another thing, for example, I was keeping it for another time, but hey, let me show you now. All right. I'm going to write something. I'm going to let's create something here. There you go. I'm going to make this ellipse, right? And I want for this color, for this ellipse to have I don't know, this purple color. Beautiful. This color, I need it. I know that is one of my colors in the color palette in the app, right? So I want to save it and I want to keep it. I don't want to be altered by not even a little bit of a shading or something like that. This is my color. So then I'm going to start with creating styles. The design systems are based on styles, right? What is a style doing? So I click those buttons and I want for this color to be added to my styles. I have the color here and I'm going to say main color. I don't know. So Agnes, this can help you design faster. Okay. So main color, and I have, I don't know, for ellipse. I'm using it for ellipse. All right. And I created the style. As you see, it shows like this. Right. So then I want to make another ellipse. And this ellipse to have the same color. Well, I'm not going to go and pick the color anymore because I already have a style for this ellipse. So I'm clicking on it, and I'm going to go to the style here. You see it, and I gave it the color that I wanted, and it's the same color. Creating styles helps you design faster. Be careful when you create styles, because you might want to create styles and name them according to your needs, right? I have this blue button, and I want for this blue color to become a style. I click on those dots, I said plus, and I want to give it a name, button. And I know that this blue is created only for buttons. So I'm going to use this blue only for buttons, right? So I have this color. It created a variable. Okay. But yes, I have this color and it's called button, right? All right. Any other questions? Come on, don't be shy. No. All right. We can do something funny then. I'm going to erase this. And someone wants to talk to me?
Can you talk about two things here? Can you talk about auto layout, number one, and can you talk about the principle, the 60-30-10 principle?
I would like for you to allow me to talk about those topics next time. I'm going to write them down.
All right, that's fine.
60-30-10, and I'm going to tell you why. And auto layout. Those are big topics, right? Those are big topics, and I'm not going to just crumble all of them in 10 minutes. All right, 60-30-10 is very important when designing, keeping the proportions. Auto layout is also very important for the responsive design and the way you organize your design. So let's talk about it next time. Now you gave me homework for next time. Cool. So let's do something cool. We're talking about the shapes. You can play with the shapes the way you want. First of all, I said when you're gonna double click on them, or if you have the shape selected and you go here, you can edit them. So double click, you can do them the way you want for them. There you go. It looks almost like a peel. Done. Super. Now I can also, for example, I want an ellipse. You have a dot here, and you can play with it like that, or you can play with it like that. I'm gonna show you a little tiny you have the option to use not only fill as a whole color, you can play with gradient, you can play with picture, you can fill it up with a picture. Let's see, image. I'm gonna use for this, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say again, unsplash. I don't know, I'm gonna say flowers. And I'm gonna fill it in. And it looks like that. So there are a lot of cool things that you can do with the shapes. From my experience, the one that I have, I didn't learn this from any video, right? I literally start playing with the shapes. I spent hours in Figma because I find it very fascinating. And I played with it, right? So other things that you can do, of course, creating stars, placeholder. If you have questions, please ask me. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna duplicate this one, and I want to rotate it a little bit. I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. I'm duplicating with Alt and click and drag. Alt and click and drag. There you go. Using the component, I selected everything. I'm going to create a component set. And I would like to have some interaction from one to another. There's not a lot of space. I'm going to say after delay, because you can do that after delay. After a while, it's changing from one to another. And this one is going to do the same here. And I want to do after delay. And then this one here. I'm literally playing now, because this is how you're trying to see what it works or not. And this one, I'm going to take the last one. I'm going to connect it to the first one. And I'm going to say after delay. I'm really curious how it's going to look like. Let's see. I'll take a frame and copy the first one in the frame. Yeah, it's turning out the frame is in, see, this frame. It should have the type. There you go. The frame, I don't know, I'm going to say A4. So I literally tried to see what's happening if I did that. It's moving now. See the way it's moving, it still stays in the phone. Prototype settings, it stays in the phone because the prototype was meant to show in the phone. And I put it in A4. You have also an option for the prototype background to be, mine is on black, but you can set any other color. Also working with the canvas here. This canvas, you can change the color if you go in design, and you can give any other color, whatever works for you. For me, for my eyes, gray is a good color. So let's try again. It's moving randomly, but this is how you're learning. I'm asking again, any other questions? For next time is going to be 60-30-10 and auto layout. Talking about the hand, when we're talking about big projects, we can drag it. Also, it's very useful to use the community. The community here will explain community. You're going to get a lot of tips from there. Also, you have the Figma whiteboard where you can practice your design. Maybe you can get with someone and work together there. What else?
Hi.
Hello, hi, welcome.
Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I would like to learn in future about the columns and I don't know.
We're talking about the grid.
The grid.
Grid.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I would like to learn about that.
Yes. Caro, right?
Yes.
Do you know why it's important, the grid? Why do you want to learn about grid? May I ask you?
How to use it, because I know is sorry, my English is not too good.
No, your English is good.
I know it is used to align and to center the things we use in the design, but
Exactly.
I don't know how to use it very, very good.
we are going to talk about it next time because this is not such a big topic. You're very correct. Working with the grid is very important. Because it helps us, exactly as you said, it helps us aligning the elements in the frame. Now, there are some specific rules. I'm going to give it to you next time. Allow me to take notes. Grid. There are some specific rules, and those rules are pretty much, a little bit different for Android, a little bit different from for iOS. But as a main idea, we are going to approach this next time. When you say that, a design, I don't know, I gave feedback and I said, well, your design is respecting the grid. It means that it's very nicely aligned. The text within the button, it is aligned. It respects the rules that we're going to talk about next time. The elements from a side, all the white space that you have, we're talking about the under the fold. Under the fold means when you create a design for the laptop, for example, and you're scrolling down the second part, the one that you see, and the second part, that is the part under the fold. So there's a lot of components, but Caro, yes, next time we're going to talk about the grid in the beginning, so we can work on something that is already aligned and we know how to use it.
Well,
thank you for
so much, Jo.
this. No problem.
Thank you so much.
Sonic.
Bye.
No problem. Bye-bye. Sonic, you raise your hand.
Okay, thank you very much. I think also the grid also from my end also, I have issues when I design also, right? The things actually end up looking bigger instead of smaller on the screen. So how can I design so that it's aligned, or it's the pixels are
well, you're talking about two different things, right? First of all, you said the things look bigger in the prototype, right?
Yes.
Than they are. Yes. That is because of the measurements, and they're connected with the grid. Also, to help you staying aligned until next time when we're going to meet, for example, I can say use the rulers. The rulers are here to the left and the top. You see that? Now, maybe you don't have them on your canvas. In order for you to activate them, you go here where you have the percentage and you find the rulers. You might have the canvas like this without rulers, but if you go here and you click rulers, then I'm going to remove this and I'm going to take away the grid. And I'm going to say, oh, I want to have these components, to start from the same place, all of them. I can align them. I can say they're like this, but I can also use the ruler. I can drag it from there, and I can say starting this point, all my design is gonna be aligned to this, right? This one can be center, and the other one can be aligned with this one. So also the rulers are very, very helpful, but the best is the grid. And there are two different things, right? The rulers are just the beginning of. So grid. Next time we're gonna do the grid. All right. One more question. I see the hand up.
Hi, Jo.
Hi.
Myself, Abdul Jalil from India.
Nice to
So
meet
I just have a question regarding the design handoff. I've been working on Figma since 1.5 years, but the issue which I find once I design something in the frame, the output isn't the same by the developer. So what frame size you recommend for a web app we should be using for designing?
What do you mean by frames? Well,
like for example,
Right,
when
so-
I take a particular frame, for example, for mobiles, if I take iPhone 14, and based on that, I can put the auto layouts, and then I can put the components and everything is aligned, and the same can be taken as a reference by the developers for developing it. But the same case, how can I do for a web application? Because you see the laptop and the desktop screen sizes keeps varying and all those. So they don't have that proper padding thing and all. So for that, they recommend to stick to some particular frame size. So what do you suggest on that?
Do you have all the constraints on it?
Yeah, we do have.
Because
Yeah.
we're talking about responsive design, right?
No, not responsive for a normal web
Well,
application.
you're not keeping all your settings when you're changing the devices, right?
Right. I'm not changing.
Would you mind email me the question? Do you have my email address?
No, if you can just.
All right, I'm going to send it to you, okay? I'm going to send it to you and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and I want you to explain to me exactly what is happening. Sounds good?
Sure. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, one question. Last question. I keep saying last question, but hey. All right. Hello. All right, no one? Well, that's it, guys.
Hi.
Yes, yes, I hear someone. Hi. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. So my question is, can you show me a use case of the top section? It is there now. Those union subtraction, those that addition. Beside that component, you have that union subtraction and additions that on the top bar. Can you show me a
Yes.
use case in a like actual Figma, like a app, mobile app,
An actual app?
Yeah, like how can we implement in an actual app with those features like a union or subtraction or
Well, it depends. I'm going to show you now. It depends what shape do you want to do, right? Or what do you want to create with that? So
okay.
I'm not sure exactly. Let's say I want to have this shape. I'm going to use a circle to make it. I want to make like I don't know, maybe a bridge, or I have no idea, right? And I want to have this some round corners to make it pretty. There you go, and bam. So I selected both of them, right? I have the rectangle selected and the ellipse selected. And I'm going up here and I'm gonna say subtract. So I took away the ellipse from it and now I'm having only this one. Do you see? I'm not sure exactly what would you do with that, but I don't know. You might want to maybe you want to rotate it and maybe
Make a profile picture of them. Okay.
I'm sorry, would you repeat, please?
Yeah, I mean, with what you just showed, no, we can make a profile picture like kind of.
You're talking about. I hear you very
maybe.
poorly with the internet.
I just got the thought. I understood. Okay, I will keep it in the chat.
Right. All right. All right. Any other questions? We're pretty much done for today. Well, I hope you took away something from this, because my purpose of the webinar was to make it curious. My purpose was for you to, when you're going to go and have a prototype, to say, I would like a wow interaction for it, or I would like, I don't know, I would like something that it looks in that way. How am I going to get it? What I need for that? And go deeper in research, because after all, there are so many things that are still waiting to be, invented by us. So this is something that I want for you to take away from this from this webinar, and this is just the beginning. We're going to go deeper next time. We're going to scaffold it into small little tiny bits and pieces. And if you have any questions next time, just write them down. We're going to answer them in the last 10-15 minutes of the webinar. Thank you so much for attending this. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'll see you next time. Keep in touch, and we're going to let you know when it's going to happen.